Hello, and welcome to Anxious at Bedtime. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Cash.
And I'm Monica.
And together we're Anxious at Bedtime. I'm pretty sure I said that right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're probably fine.
Thanks for joining us. Do you have anything new to talk about?
Since our last episode, no, not really. Just keep getting into conspiracy theories, and I got pretty deeply down into the rabbit hole of the demon mirror in the Vatican.
I don't think I am familiar with that.
The conspiracy basically is that it's the most honest mirror in the world, and a demon mirror. Anybody who looks in it sees like the truth, whether they see the truth them or the truth of what this universe is. Nobody's supposed to be looking at it. It's hidden in that video you sent me with that dope ass door in the Vatican.
Yeah.
It's hidden behind that, down the corridor, down a hallway, covered up and everything. The last priest that saw it came out with his eyes bleeding and mumbling to himself some obscurities that nobody could understand.
Oh.
There's a lot of different things to it, so it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that was one of the things I've been paying attention to a lot since our last episode. Same with, I've just kind of been inundated with a lot of videos about vampires and the legitimacy of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, some conspiracies about, where was it, in Venice, Italy, that there's very well-known vampire tribes out that way.
Oh.
Quite a few people on TikTok that were talking about the vampiric council and how vampires operate and what they got right and wrong in movies. Like they can go outside in the sun, they don't sparkle, they don't glisten, they don't burn up. It's a little uncomfortable. Like they got a light sensitivity. They're good with everybody. Eating garlic, that's a misconception. Kind of thins your blood and makes it a little bit more seasoned, is what they're saying. So yeah, then there's other people that travel to Italy, to Venice, and talk about how somebody that they know from the service or somebody online told them go to this neighborhood or this specific store. They don't know the address, but it's in this specific area. And I watch the videos and people go there and they don't show anything besides like the windows into the stores showing like old books and like some really old things inside of the shops, but they don't show them going into the shops, any of the interactions. But at the end, maybe their next video they post, they're like, it's different. I'm done with this. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm out.
Huh.
Like every single one. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, that's weird. I haven't come across that side of TikTok at all.
I'll start sending it to you. There's some wild stuff. It's fun.
Yeah.
For sure. Other than that, yeah, I got nothing.
Okay. I don't think I have anything either. So this week we're going to do things a little bit different. We're trying a new episode style.
Yeah, doing a little bit different content.
Yeah. So basically, we wanted to celebrate Summerween, and to do that, we're going to watch some scary movies, and we figured if we're watching scary movies, why not talk about them on the podcast?
Yeah, kind of just give a review, kind of overview of it.
Yeah, talk about it, share fun facts.
The best part about this is Monica watches all of these movies and she pays attention and she's like focused in on them. And I got ADHD, so I watch part of the movies and I just make a lot of comments. So most of this she paid attention to, and it's just going to be me trying to recap and kind of remember any of it.
Basically just reminding you of what we watched.
Yeah, at the end, we're basically going to recap it, and then we'll put it on a scalable measure, a measurable scale, to reference of how scary it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for our first installment in this series,
in this type of content, whatever it's being called, for our first time doing this thing this time this way.
That was weird because I thought I heard I don't know, it sounded like somebody cleared their throat or something, but not yours. It sounded over here. So I thought there was a cat.
Yeah,
And the iPad was lit up.
It just lit up a second ago. Yeah.
That's weird.
So this is going to be our first attempt at this type of content, and we'll kind of see where it goes.
Yeah, we'll see how it feels, how it plays out, and yeah, go from there.
And whatever feedback we get from it, we'll go from there.
Yeah. So this episode should be airing somewhere around the 4th of July. And we figured what better way to start this than with I Know What You Did Last Summer.
You should know what I did last summer.
I do know what you did last summer.
Yeah, we were together.
But we're discussing the movie.
Oh, the one that we watched.
So we're talking about the 1997 version, not the one that just came out.
Oh, yeah, the first one.
Yeah. It was
I was gonna
direct.
say it looked a little bit old to be brand new, dude. That's a retro ass camera.
It was directed by Jim Gillespie.
Gillespie.
Yeah. And he also directed Joyride.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, another good movie. The screenplay was written by Kevin Williamson. It was released October 17th, 1997.
It's a good year.
The genre is, it's considered a slasher film with elements of horror and mystery.
Horror
Yeah.
and mystery. But it's a slasher.
But it's a slasher. The movie is supposed to be set in Southport, North Carolina, but the opening shots of the coastline and then the car crash scene were filmed in Sonoma County, California.
Yeah, it figures.
But then everything else was filmed mostly in Southport.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean,
So that's pretty cool.
just got to get those big shots to make the dramatic scenes.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the basic information. And then I think we'll just do like explain the plot kind of in depth, and then we'll do some fun facts.
All right.
Okay. So basically, the movie starts with like wide panorama views of a coastline, and we get a little glimpse of a drunk man sitting on a cliff. We don't really know what's going on there. And then
I've
it
been that
changes.
player. Yeah. Oh.
Oh. And then we're introduced to the four main characters: Helen, Julie, Barry, and Ray.
I think I remember them.
Yeah. Basically, it's the end of their senior year. Helen just competed in a 4th of July beauty pageant that she won.
Ooh.
And so everybody's celebrating. They go to this huge party on the beach. But the two boys, Barry and Ray, kind of get in a little bit of a tiff.
Oh, scuffle.
Yeah,
if you will.
a little scuffle, a little
you know,
pissing contest
and peed all over each other.
with this other guy named Max.
I don't remember that part of the movie. I don't remember anybody peeing on each other.
And so because of the little scuffle, the two main guys and the two main girls, Barry, Ray, Julie, Helen, were like, let's blow this popsicle stand.
Swiggity swooty, let's get out this booty.
And they got out of that booty. So they went to their own little party, a little private beach club party with just the four of them.
Hell yeah.
And they're hanging out, doing whatever. Barry's getting like off the wall drunk.
Getting turned.
Yeah, I don't even think anybody else was drinking or anything, but Barry was drinking enough for everybody.
He was partying. He was celebrating.
Yeah. Celebrating what? I don't know, the 4th of July, I guess.
Something.
So, one of my favorite parts of this movie is when they were doing their own little party with just the four of them. They were like sitting around a little makeshift beach campfire telling a story.
Oh yeah, they're telling the story of the hook hand killer guy.
Yeah, the hook man.
Yeah, that's a main part of the story. You better cover that.
Yeah, I am.
That's the premise of their whole fear.
Yeah, because it's very fun. It's a very like meta moment where they're talking about the hook man story. Like everybody knows it. There's a hook man, a couple doing naughty things alone in the woods, whatever, and then hook man shows up. It ends a billion different ways, and they discuss that in the movie.
Yeah, it's their typical ghost story
Yeah.
for the hookup scene in the hookup area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that deterrent story. Oh, everybody always has a different ending or different little pieces, but it's all the same shit, same story.
Yeah,
They
but
were arguing about who had the right ending.
exactly,
Yeah,
they were, yeah.
I remember.
And first of all, hold on. We should have said that. There will be spoilers. We're not leaving anything out.
I will.
The film is from 1997, so if you haven't seen it yet, like, that might be on you, bud.
You have had quite some time to have watched it.
Yeah, you've had time.
And that's how I'm going to feel about a lot of the movies we watch.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of time to watch a lot of them, and I probably haven't. So
Yeah.
I'm going to be, watching a lot of these for the first time too, so don't be too mad.
Yeah, so from here on out in this episode, if you don't want spoilers of the 1997 I Know What You Did Last Summer, you can skedaddle. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Or listen, and we'll just save you some time. You don't have to waste the 2 hours watching it. We'll cover it pretty quick.
Yeah. So yeah, if you have seen the movie, you know the movie is about the four friends that get hunted down by a man with a hook.
Who was it? We might tell you.
Yeah.
Was it one of them? I don't remember.
But so it's this really cool moment where they're discussing basically the premise of the movie, like what they're about to go through, kind of.
Yeah, no,
Obviously, the
pretty
movie's
much.
different. And I read a quote by, I think it was the screenwriter, whatever. I don't know the words for any of this stuff.
Screenwriter.
So screenwriter. I think he was saying that he wanted to include that sort of as like a, not just a nod to the original lore, but also as a way of saying like, yes, there's that, but now I'm making my own. Like that's one story. Here's another little tale.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're all arguing about how this thing ends the story. And then they decide to leave. Everybody gets in the car. One thing I love is even though it was Barry's car, nobody let Barry drive.
Yeah, that guy was pretty fucked up. He even called out like, "Nobody drives my car, hell no."
Yeah.
But you know what? They were like, "Nah, man. Either I drive, or you can go fuck yourself. We're sleeping here." And he's like, "I'm not sleeping here, I guess. So here, go ahead." And
Yeah.
he let somebody else drive. So that was cool.
Exactly. Especially since throughout the rest of the movie, nobody stood up to Barry. But in that moment, they did. So I think that speaks volumes on the director, producer, everybody
Not
involved.
advocating for the DUIs.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So they all pile into this car. Barry and his girlfriend Helen get in the back.
It's a Beamer, just so you know.
Oh, I didn't even know that. And Ray and his girlfriend Julie get in the front. They're driving. Ray's completely sober. He's doing a good job, whatever, hanging out. But then Barry, his little drunk ass, decides, I'm going to pop through the sunroof.
Just hanging out the sunroof, drinking up his little bottle. Spills it. He drops it. He spills it all over, though.
Yeah.
All over the driver.
And that's the issue is he's hanging out with his bottle up through the sunroof and then drops it. And it hits Ray, spills all over the floor, all over Ray. So Ray's like, dude, what the fuck? And he's like trying to clean it up. But he takes his eyes off the road. He took his eyes off the road just long enough for them to hit something.
A dude.
Yeah. They thought it was a deer.
A dog. They thought it was a dog. Then they were
a
like,
dog.
A dog won't do all that damage now. And they're like, a deer would.
Yeah.
Like, so would that dead guy.
Yeah, so they stop, they get out of the car, and then that's when Julie, the girl next door, sees a bloody boot in the middle of the road.
Fucking goody goody two shoes, you know.
One shoe.
Goody goody one shoe.
And that's when everybody panics because they realize we just hit a person.
Possibly.
At least we hit something wearing boots.
Possibly. They didn't see nobody fall out that boot. They don't know how long it was there.
That's true. But
Go
one
ahead.
thing I want to say is at the point of impact, Barry was still standing through the sunroof, and it showed the body flip up over the hood of the car and roll over the top. Would that body not have taken Barry out?
Well, Barry fucking punched it and it flew over him.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't want to get hit by a dead dude's body rolling, so he fucking uppercutted it. It rolled over. Otherwise, yeah, it would have folded him backwards. Probably would have snapped his back or something.
Yeah, right?
Not Barry. He
Okay.
fucked that thing up.
Okay.
Bop.
I just didn't see that part.
That's why he really. So next, when they get out and they start searching, he really didn't want to go looking because he's like, nah, man, fucking launched that dude into space. I punched him.
Okay. But so yeah, they start looking for the man and they find him and Ray runs up and tries to check for his heartbeat. And he says, I think he's dead, guys. But apparently Ray has no medical training.
To be fair, he, just barely graduating high school. Probably didn't fucking take that class.
Yeah, no CPR or anything
I don't
for
think
him.
they even
first
offered
aid.
that in high school in '97.
I have no idea. But if they did, he did not take it.
He did not.
Because they start... What did they do at that point? They were arguing over what they should do with the body. Should they call the cops? Should they leave him there? Because, I don't know, it was Barry's car. And Barry was like, oh, if the cops come, they're going to think that I did it because it's my car and I'm so wasted and I'm going to go to jail. And the logic here was very, flimsy.
It was flawed for sure.
Yeah, but they're teenagers. Teenagers don't make the best thought-out decisions all the time.
That's the premise to that scene, I believe.
Yeah. But so they argued for a good couple minutes about, the cops wouldn't believe that it was Ray driving and yada yada. Basically, Barry pleading his case. Like, you guys, they'll arrest me and my dad's going to be so mad that I messed up my car. So, right as they were about to make the final big decision, a car starts pulling up.
A truck.
A truck starts pulling up.
And it's fucking Darlene's boyfriend.
Yeah, it's Max, again, back from the party, the pissing contest party. And he's like, hey guys, what are you doing here? And they're like, Julie, his friend, runs up to the truck and she's like, oh, we just stopped because Barry's so drunk he's throwing up. And Barry
As all
was
the other
throwing up.
people, no, all the other people were trying to throw the fucking body they thought was dead
Yeah.
over the guardrail.
While Julie's talking to Max, they're scuttling this body, 3 little teenagers scuttling this grown-ass man, 50-year-old body across the street, or across the road, and throwing him over the guardrail.
And then pretending to throw up.
Yeah. Well, Barry probably really was thrown up. He really was drunk. But Julie was like, Barry's just so drunk, you know? And Max was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, this dude, as he's rolling up hella slow, sees these three
So
teenagers.
slow.
Well, at the time, there was 4 of them, and they're fucking bent over,
Yeah.
going across the road with something. And he's not like, no, just a minute ago, when I was rolling up, that weird fucking scuffle you guys were doing. What was that about? Like, why were you all 4 bent into a circle, staring at something, scuffling?
They're like, we're just staring at Barry's throw up. He threw it up over there, and he threw it up over here.
Well, he threw up in the blanket that we had, and we were picking it up, and we didn't want
Yeah.
to splash it, so we were being very careful. I mean, like, I need to see this fucking vomit. How much is
150
it?
pounds of throw up.
Yeah, these kids, man.
It's Max. I mean, it's silly that they're like, oh, we're going to get away with this, but it's sillier that they got away with it.
Yeah, for real.
But Max, yeah, he had no questions. He was just so mesmerized by Julie, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Max doesn't see anything, or doesn't say he sees anything, and then he keeps going, and he's like, bye, guys. Even though he saw the beat-up car with blood all over and blood in the road and everything else.
It's like fucking drunk drivers.
Yeah. And then the kids start talking about what to do again. And ultimately, they decide that they're going to throw the body in the water. Because if they do that, it'll wash off any evidence of Barry's car and any evidence of them.
And they're definitely not going to the cops.
Yeah. That's what they decide. So they do. It doesn't show them transporting him. I assume they throw him in the trunk or something, or maybe they all hold him. I don't really know. And they drive down to a pier.
Yeah, they put him in the back seat.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, gross. But they drive him down to a little dock, and they carry him out there, and they set him down on the dock for some reason instead of just finishing it.
Yeah, they had to stage him so that they could think about it instead of just like walking down there and dropping him.
Yeah.
They set him on the stage to think about it when they could have just fucking, he's right there.
But they couldn't do that because they needed another fight to ensue.
Yeah, they definitely needed the theatrics.
Yeah.
The drama.
So they did. There was another fight, and Ray was like, dude, I'm not touching that dead body. And Barry was like, if you're a man, you need to do it. And Ray was like, no. And Julie was like, I'm not doing it either. So Helen steps up and pulls up her big boy pants. Not that this is an appropriate time for that, but she does. And she's like, I'll just do it then. And she goes to grab him and throw him in the water. This entire time, it's the night that Helen won her beauty pageant. So she's wearing her giant beauty pageant queen tiara.
Yeah, she had that tiara on the whole fucking time. I saw how excited you were watching her.
The whole time. She didn't take it off once. Not the accident, nothing. So when they were doing the little shuffle carrying the body, she had it on. But anyway, so she's like, I'll just handle it. And she goes and she grabs a dead body and she goes to throw him in the water, and he reaches up and grabs her tiara.
He said, fuck that. If you're making me swim with a fish, I'm gonna have a crown.
Yeah.
And he took it.
And he did. And he took that thing with him all the way down in the water. And so I think it was Barry.
Drunk old Barry.
Yeah, drunk old Barry jumps in there and he goes down and he finds the body, who's like just sitting in the water like freaking Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, he's just standing there.
Yeah. And he grabs it out of his hand, and the dead guy opens his eyes again, and there's like a little scuffle for a second, but then Barry swims up, and then for some reason, everybody's like, yeah, he's dead.
They just decided they were like,
Yeah.
well, he's dead now.
He's dead to us.
We gotta go. Think I got breakfast in the morning?
Yeah.
Guys? You
Not
going?
a single person was like, do you think that guy's still alive? No, they're all like, we killed a man. We have to dispose of the body. That man that's, grabbing things and swimming around
He
and
keeps
opening his
fucking
eyes.
opening his eyes, fighting, and saying, please stop.
Yeah.
I don't know what this rigor mortis is and when it sets in, but that guy needs it. He's pissing me off.
Dead bodies are weird.
Yeah. Anyways, what's next?
And so they start walking off the dock, and Barry's drunk ass stops, and he's like, wait, guys, I need to make sure we never talk about this again. And everybody's like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And so Helen says it first, and then Ray says it, and then Barry looks at Julie, who's, by the way, played by Jennifer Love Hewitt. Love her in this movie so much. But he looks at Julie, and he's like, Julie, you need to say it. And she nods, and he's like, Julie, I said you need to say it. And she like nods again, and she's like, yeah, I know. And then he attacks her, chokes her out, like spins her around up against the car and is like choking her out, and is like, I need you to say it. And everybody else is just standing around watching.
Well, yeah, they had to make sure she said it too because they're liable. And if she wasn't going to say it then, they're already where the other body is.
Oh my gosh. He probably would have, his drunk ass.
Bro,
Yeah. But it was just wild to me that her boyfriend Ray was like right there, and he was like, no, stop, Julie, say it.
He's like, bro, I ain't going down for this either, Julie. Fucking say it.
Yeah.
I know where that guy's body is too. You can go swim with the fishies.
Yeah. But so that was crazy. But anyway, so Julie says it. She says this stays here, it dies with us, or whatever the fuck. And then flash forward a year later.
Well,
Julie's off in college.
is she?
Yeah, I don't remember where she went, but it was very pretty. And then it's the end of the year. Okay,
She just said college.
but I don't remember where the college is.
Oh.
But it was very pretty. And it's the end of the year, and her roommate is like, Julie, you said you're going home. You're going to be late, or something like that. I don't know what she's late for. I guess traffic. And so eventually Julie gets in the car. But by the way, I want to mention the makeup department or whoever did a great job, because the whole thing is supposed to be like Julie is so torn up by the guilt of this that she's like depressed and just riddled with guilt, you know? And they did a fantastic job portraying that. Like, she looked like it was still Jennifer Love Hewitt. She's gorgeous all the time, no matter what. But you could tell that she was supposed to be depressed. Like, her hair, her makeup, she was so pale.
She looked deflated, yeah.
Yeah, very
for sure.
deflated. She did a great job acting this. And then all of it, it was good. It was good. But, yeah, so Julie goes home. And it shows her, like, going back to her childhood home, like, talking to her mom a little bit, whatever. And then her mom's like, hey, honey, you got a little piece of mail.
Yeah, she just got a letter.
Yeah. And for some reason, Julie's the only one that actually, or at this point, gets a letter. And she opens it. It's addressed to her, first name, last name. She opens it, and it says, I know what you did last summer.
Dun-dun.
And she's like, Mom, do you know who sent this? And her mom was like, do you know as much information as I do? I just checked the mailbox.
She's like, it's been here for 2 months.
Yeah. And so, of course, she goes and she meets her friends. By the way, this would be a good time, I think, for me to say. So Julie is played by Jennifer Love Hewitt. Ray is played by Freddie Prinze Jr. Helen is played by, oh God, what's her name? I'm not good with names. Hold on.
Johann Sebastian Bach.
No. I know what you did last summer, 1997.
Liza Minnelli.
Helen is played by Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Oh.
And Barry is played by, I don't know how to say his last name, Ryan Philippe? Philip? I know he's very famous. I recognize him. Let's see. He's from Cruel Intentions, Motorheads, Shooter, Prey. You recognize him. He was a huge name back in the 90s, early
Probably.
aughts.
Yeah.
I just don't know how to say his last name. But, yeah, so Julie goes to find her friends. Well, I don't remember if she goes to one friend first.
So if I'm getting this right, Julie goes to get all of her friends to go, hey, guys, I just got a letter.
Yeah.
I just got a letter.
She does, yeah.
Okay.
And then
Did
they're
they get
all...
letters?
Not yet.
Oh.
But they're all theorizing, like, oh, who could it be? And, of course, Barry's drunk ass, who's, again, drunk during this
He
time.
might be an alcoholic. Because when they were down on that little beach
Yeah.
that first night before they killed the dude, well, thought they killed the dude.
Mm-hmm.
When they were down on that beach, he was definitely trying to get some, and his girlfriend was going through their future. It was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I can't wait to marry you, and you go to the NFL, and then you go to rehab for
Yeah.
your addiction, and then, our kids, and then they realize that you're an alcoholic and you go to rehab again. Like, she kept saying that he had a fucking drinking
Yeah.
problem. So they kept that going throughout the movie.
Yeah, they did. But the girl had fucking plans. Like, she was not letting up on that rehab thing. So, power to her.
And they had no plans on helping that kid, man.
No.
They just wrote the whole script.
Yeah.
They could have just not written it for the second part, and he wouldn't have been an alcoholic. Could have helped him a lot.
Yeah.
Fucking rude.
But, yeah, so Barry, he's drunk at this point. I think they're at Barry's house because his mom was, like, in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're all, like, talking about who could have sent it. And Barry's like, oh, it was probably just a joke. And everybody was like, Barry, you dumbass. Why would people be joking about us murdering somebody? What do you mean? And Barry, I don't know, went off on some tangent. But he was, like, yelling the whole time. And you could see his mom in the background. She was, like, 5 feet away.
Yeah, and he's screaming about the murder from
Yeah.
the year before.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? How does the mom not? And she's right there.
She was drunk, too.
Yeah, door open. She probably had, yeah, maybe. Yeah, so anyway, Ray was not there. It
She's
was
like,
just...
oh, these kids with their Dungeons and Dragons. Killing all these elves and hawks.
But because Ray wasn't there, I think Barry was like, if he's not here, he's the bad guy. And so Barry was trying to theorize that Ray was the killer. Or Ray was the
Insinuate.
one...
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't a killer yet. Ray was the one sending the letter.
Yeah, he was insinuating Ray was the one.
Yeah. So they
He
go to find...
started that line.
Yeah. So they go to find Ray.
And who'd have thunk it? Ray's got a job.
Yeah. Ray, everybody stayed in town. You know, everyone had these great plans.
Except for that one girl. She was out of town at uni.
Yeah, except for Julie. But everyone had these great plans. I don't really remember what Barry's plans were, or Ray's, if I'm being honest. But I know
Barry
everyone...
was going in the NFL, remember?
Yeah,
And Ray was going to get out of that town.
yeah.
He was going to do something too. I don't remember.
And Helen was going to New York, which she did for a little bit, but it didn't pan out. So everybody was still in this town.
Yeah, everyone got, they just got sucked back in.
Yeah,
Small town curses.
yeah. Barry was like, Ray lives here. Like, we can go see him at his job. And so Ray's a fisherman now. So they go down to the fish factory place,
The fishing ward.
and they find Ray.
Dun dun. Enter Ray.
I was incorrect.
She was not right.
So Barry theorized it was Ray, and they were basically like, you dummy, there's no way it's Ray. So then Barry was like, then it must be Max. Max saw us that night. And it was Max that they went to see.
Oh yeah, they already ran into Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah, they ran into Ray. He did work at the fish wharf anyways.
Yeah.
Then they went to Max, and he works at the crab shack.
Yeah. He works at a crab factory.
Yeah, crab shack. You
And they
just can't
visit
get the food
him.
there.
What?
So it's a crab shack. You just can't order food there.
Yeah. But so they visit Max, and Barry like roughs him up a little bit, and he's like, you think you're funny? You know what you're doing sending us that letter? And Max was like, dude, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, you drunk ass, get off me. And so Barry was like, oh, I must have the wrong guy then. And backs off.
He sure did. Total 90s. My bad.
Yeah. Basically. And then I don't really remember what happened after that. They left, I guess.
Yeah, they were like, we got to go do something else. This is a waste of our time. Let's get out of this little Max guy's way.
Yeah, but the story doesn't follow the friends. The story stays with Max.
Oh,
Max
did
is
it?
still at work at the crab factory.
Yeah, see, we still don't know what they did.
Yeah. And so Max has like his little crab hook. I don't know why you use that for crabs. I think it's a fish thing. But anyway, he like has the hook and then he sets it on a little ice block, like a little sharp and sticks it in there. And he turns around, grabs something, turns back towards the crabs, and the camera shows you that the fish hook is missing. It's not where he left it.
No, so he thought he dropped it.
No, he thought he put it on the ice.
I know, but when it wasn't there.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I don't think he noticed.
Oh, I did. I was
but we
like,
did.
man, maybe it fell. No.
And then in comes the hook man.
Yeah,
And
I saw him.
Yeah. He reaches over and he hooks Max up like through the jaw.
Like, uppercut him.
Yeah. Through the bottom of his chin, which is icky. What?
Which is icky.
And then that is all that I wrote on that scene. So I think that's where it ended.
Pretty much, yeah. He just fucking
Yeah.
yoked him up, walked him off, took his body, disappeared.
Yeah.
And we
And
went
then-
to the next scene.
Yeah. And the next scene, I didn't write very much on that transition. So I think the next scene is we see Barry and he's like somewhere and he has like a locker. Okay. It seems like some sort of gym or something. And he has a locker and he like changes out of his clothes. He hangs up his little jacket and he goes and he takes a shower. And then when he comes out of the shower, his locker's wide open and he's like, well, that's weird. I thought I closed it. And he looks inside and his jacket's gone. And he's like, ooh. And in place of his jacket was a little Polaroid photograph.
Of him naked.
No,
Oh.
that would have been really creepy. Instead, it was his car. I thought it was his car that night, but nay, it was his car that night, the night he got the photograph, outside of where he was. I think it was his work, maybe. I don't know why there were showers. But anyway,
Well, because he works at a fucking fish place, dude.
Barry?
Which one's Barry?
The drunk one.
Oh, the drunk one? I don't know if he works.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I think he was at I think he was at the gym. At
I
the
kinda
Y
think
or
so,
something.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it was a picture of his car parked outside the gym. We'll at least pretend that's what it is. And he was like, why is somebody taking pictures of my car right now? And he ran out and he asked the front desk guy, like, who's working here? And he was like, it's literally just me. And he was like, oh my God. And he ran outside. And that's when I realized, oh, it was like literally his car right now. Also, I miss cameras like that because the guy just like took a picture. If that was, well, yeah. He had to have taken a picture and it printed right there.
Yeah. Polaroids. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so Barry ran out and he was like, okay, well, my car's here. Nobody's around. Like, that's weird. And then all of a sudden, his car turns on and the lights flash at him because it's nighttime. It's dark.
Yeah. So the driver turned on his lights.
Yeah. He apparently stole his keys, turned on his lights, started the car, and Barry was like, oh shit, because he's in front of the car. Okay. And then the car starts doing the little gassy, like, vroom, vroom.
Revving up.
Yeah, revving up. And I don't really remember what happened. I think Barry yelled something.
Yeah, he started yelling at him like, "Nobody drives my car. Get out of there,
Probably,
pussy."
yeah.
No, that's what he said. Something along those lines.
Yeah. And so the hook man came at him.
Yeah, he fucking floored it.
Yeah, started chasing him.
I remember.
Yeah.
And that fucking kid, the Barry guy,
Yeah.
dude, it's a fucking road. He
Yeah.
just kept running, zigzagging, serpentining like he was
On
gonna
the
fucking
road.
miss the whole car while he was running down the middle of the road. He never like, I don't know, turn left down an alleyway where a car couldn't make that sharp turn, especially going that fast.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't
Or
decide
jumped in a building.
to do any cut at all.
He just was zigzagging.
And then he just did a nice little veer, kind of like a nice nice curve that the car could make the angle. You know, he
Yeah.
knows the angle of the car. It's his car, so he knows his turn radius. He made it so it's just that, the precision, to where he can get kind of out of the way so the car can plow into a wood building.
Yeah.
So it didn't get totally fucked up. Like, it was either in the script or this kid is just not bright.
I think
I've been drunk and outran a lot. Obviously, outran a lot of cars because I've only been hit by a couple. And let me tell you, the ones that hit me were a surprise. I didn't know they were coming.
Kirk Gravy.
The ones that did not, if I saw a fucking car coming at me, sober, drunk, doesn't matter. I'm running where they're not gonna fucking crash that thing.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it had to have been intentional. It reminded me so much of, I think it's Scary Movie. Maybe one of those like spoof movies where a blonde girl was running from, I think, the killer, and she's like, "Oh my God." And she was like it was intentionally funny, and she was like not running very fast, you know, and she'd like fall and like stop and look over her shoulder.
Yeah.
And that's what it reminded me of. And I know that at least with Scream, the screenwriter was like intentionally funny and intentionally like meta, making jokes about like scary movies are so bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's not what was happening there. That
You
was
don't think it was
no,
intentional?
no. I did not like that piece of writing.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was funny. But yeah, so basically Barry, I think he got hit by the car and it like plowed through a fence or something.
It plowed through like a wooden storefront and Barry. He ended up in the hospital.
Yeah. He went to
Yeah.
the hospital, but he was fine.
Didn't die. Yeah, he
Oh.
got some fucking scrapes.
But when he was laying there, the hook man got out of the car and just like stood over him, like could have teabagged him real easy, but didn't.
Yeah,
so
like
that's cool.
Like, scraped the hook on him and
Yeah.
said, "You might be next. I haven't decided yet."
He didn't say that, but you know it was there. You could feel it in the air, the tension.
Yeah.
So we flash forward to the hospital. Julie goes running in and she's shocked to see that there are cops everywhere. And then she goes up to her friends and she's like, "What happened?" And they kind of explain the situation. That's all I remember from that scene.
Yeah, she explained it real good, I presume.
Yeah, real good. Okay, what was next? I think basically at that point, that's when they were like, okay, we really need to start taking this seriously because they didn't know Max was dead. But they were like, he's like coming after us now, this fisherman hook guy. So we need to figure out who he is. And Julie was like, oh, his name's David Egan. His name is David Egan. And they're like, bitch, how do you know that? And she was like, well, after it happened, I kept my eyes on the newspapers. And 3 weeks after we dumped the body in the water, there were newspapers about this man being found in the water. He like was caught up in crab nets or fish nets or something. And they said it seemed like it was an accidental drowning. And they're like, oh, bet. Okay. So they looked up, they found out he had some family nearby. It was supposed to be a mom and a sister. And so they drove out there, the two girls, Julie and Helen. They drove out there to go talk to them. I don't really know what their plan was.
Yeah, they were just, overstepping.
Yeah. But they're like, so if it's anybody that's after us, it's probably something related to him. So I think they were trying to get killed. I don't know. It was a scary movie. And so they drive out there and they pretend that their car broke down and they run into David's sister, Missy. And basically just like ask her questions and they're like being a little bit weird, you know?
Yeah, a little facetious, a
Yeah.
little standoffish, like, "Oh, so tell us about, your dead brother. He died,
Yeah.
right? Oh, what? You had a brother and he died?
Did he have friends?
Oh my. How'd he die? Did you guys ever find his killer? Was it us?"
Yeah. But it was very weird. Basically, the most important information they got out of her was the fact that a year before David died, David had a fiance that died in a really bad accident. I think a car accident.
Yeah, she was killed by a drunk driver
Yeah.
on that bend that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
same part where
a
they hit.
tourist.
Yeah, where they hit the hook man.
Yeah, a drunk tourist hit her and killed her.
That was it, yeah. And so David was never the same. Basically, the sister said that she thinks that David went out there and was drunk that night and slipped into the water because he was missing his fiance. And that's why he was out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But the most important part of information is shortly after David passed away, a guy came around to the house and was like, hey, I was a friend of David's. Like, how are you doing? And then Missy and this random guy who called himself Billy Blue.
Oh, Billy Blue.
Yeah. They were kind of sweet on each other for a little bit. They kind of dated, courted, if you will.
And then old Billy Blue disappeared.
Yeah. Billy Blue just disappeared and she didn't know what happened. And yeah, that was that. And then the Helen and Julie, the two girls, were like, okay, well, let's go. And they left.
No. They went and sat in their car
Yeah, they
to
did.
discuss it
Yeah, instead of
and
just leaving.
recap in this lady's driveway where they just told the lady, like, hey, we need your help. We need your phone. Our car is not working. We need to call for help.
Yeah.
We're stranded. And they sit in the car. And mind you, the whole time they're sitting in this fucking car recapping, it started.
Yeah.
They got the lights on. They got the air conditioning on so they can feel good. And they're like, yeah, dude, what's going on? So the lady walks outside and she's like, damn, you guys got this car started hella quick, huh? And they're like, fucking miracles, man.
And
they
sped
floor it.
off.
Yeah, they fucking kicked rocks at her out their
Yeah.
back tires, man. They were hella rude to her.
Yeah, that was crazy. But then basically, Helen gets home that night. And they're like, well, that was a bust. We don't know who's trying to kill us. Helen goes home, and her dad is sitting in the living room watching baseball. Remember this?
Yeah, he was watching baseball. He was
Yeah.
he was
Watching
a little
it real
litty titty,
hard.
and he
Yeah.
was real into the game.
I guess, yeah.
Ask me how I know he was real into the game.
How do you know?
Well, because he was so into the game, some guy with a hook and a big ass hat, he looked like a killer. Just walked right
Yeah,
past him to
yeah.
go kill his daughter.
Right
And
past him. Just
was
walked
like-
into the house.
fuck it, dude. My team on.
Yeah, basically poked his head into the living room and was like, hey, guy, what's up? Waving his little hook. And then kept going upstairs to his daughter's room.
And it really confuses me because what major league baseball team is in fucking North Carolina?
Oh, yeah.
Ah.
I don't know. But he was real into that
College
fucking game.
baseball is that big in North Carolina?
I
Like,
guess.
if
I
it
don't know.
is, that's news to me. I'm not hating.
Yeah,
I'm just
no.
saying that's crazy.
It was crazy. Yeah, so Helen goes up to her bedroom, or she was diddling around in the kitchen, whatever, and the hook man sneaks up to her bedroom, right past Dad, right past everybody, and hides in her closet. Then Helen goes up to her bedroom, she gets all dressed for bed, goes to sleep, and she wakes up, and she's wearing her tiara, with her hair scattered all around her in a pretty little halo, not attached to her head.
Oh, yeah. He cabbage patched her.
He cabbage patched her. In fact, one person, I don't remember who it was, but later in the movie, they said he coleslawed your hair or made coleslaw of your hair or something. And I thought that was so fucking funny, and I still don't understand it, but we should use that phrase more.
Coleslaw. You see how coleslaw looks? It's all chopped and nasty.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah, that's what she was saying.
Coleslaw. Okay. But yeah, the killer didn't kill Helen, even though he was in her room all night. He definitely could have, but he didn't. So Helen wakes up, she freaks out, she screams, she calls Julie. She's like, hey girl, scary shit's going down at my house. I don't know if he's still here or not. I don't know for sure. I'm making this up. We didn't see the phone call. But Julie starts driving, and this scene, oh my gosh, scared the crap out of me. So Julie's in the car, driving to Helen's, and all you can hear is what sounds like a hook scraping the outside of her car. Like off of the scary story that they shared in the beginning of the episode where the hook just scrapes the roof of the car or the side of the door or whatever.
Oh,
trying
yeah,
to
real
break in.
taunting.
Yeah. And so that was very reminiscent of that. And you just hear the metal on metal scraping, and it was so creepy. And she stops the car and she's like, fuck this. And she's a fucking boss ass bitch. She walks around the car because she can see behind her. There's nothing behind her, right? So she's like, he has to be in the trunk. So she goes to the trunk and she slowly walks up to it, fully expecting this man to pop out, right? And she pops open the trunk really fast and jumps back. And do you know what it is?
It was a body with a bunch of fucking crabs.
Yeah, it was Max. Max's body smothered in crabs.
Just crabs all over. He was frosted with crabs.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Frosted. It was really scary looking. And she screamed and she cried and she ran. She like sprinted. She got Helen and Barry. And as they were walking up, Barry was like, are you sure like you really saw this? You weren't hallucinating or something? Because I don't know, maybe she's prone to hallucinations. I don't know why he was being weird. But she was like, no, it was definitely Max. Like he was dead. Like he was in my trunk with these crabs. And so Barry goes up and he opens the trunk and it's empty. Like spotless empty. Not a drop of blood, not a drop of crab poop, nothing.
Crab poop?
I don't know.
What?
I'm sure crabs poop, but there was like her little tools for like fixing flat tires and stuff and nothing else. Like it looked untouched. It was very weird.
It was.
Yeah. Which means the fisherman had to drag out the dead body from there, and she was like parked in front of a bunch of houses. Nobody saw him moving a body, moving a bunch of crabs out of a trunk.
No, they were probably pretty busy.
Like, yeah, I guess. I don't know. It was almost the 4th of July weekend. You know, shit gets busy. But yeah, so this, the most iconic scene in the whole movie. You know, Julie's freaking out and she's like, no, I swear he was in there. And she like runs out in the middle of the street and she's screaming. What'd she scream?
What are you waiting for?
Yeah, she screams, what are you waiting for? And like spins around in a circle. And this is a really dramatic moment. Okay. And that's like the pivotal, like when you ask people about this movie, that's the scene they picture.
It is, absolutely.
It's iconic. At this point, I think Ray runs up to them, but he was a little bit late. And that's when Barry starts blaming Ray for everything. And he's like, this has to be because of you. Because I guess like Barry, Helen, and Julie came from like affluent families.
Yeah, very wealthy.
Yeah. And Ray didn't. So Barry was like, you're poor, so you have to be the one that did it.
Trying to fit in. Oh, poser.
It was really dumb logic, but you know, Barry's drunk. So they get into a little scuffle. And then how did that end?
I don't recall.
Oh, basically, I don't know. They were arguing. Somebody said something and somebody had a light bulb moment where they're like, hey, we should look through Helen's sister's yearbook because she should have gone to college at the same time as this David guy. So maybe they can see this friend Billy Blue. And so they're like, perfect, let's do it. They run to Helen's house. They get her sister's yearbook. They're searching through it. There's no Billy Blue.
Not a one.
Not a single one. And so they're like, okay, well, what if we take this to David's sister and then see if she recognizes Billy Blue, the guy that was supposed to be David's friend. David being the guy that they think they ran over, okay?
Yeah.
And Ray is like, no, I'm not going anywhere. And everybody's like, that's sus. Why? And he's like, I think this is silly. I don't think he's going to be in the yearbook, so you guys can go if you want, but I have other things to do. And everybody's like, that's weird.
Or like, big time sus guy, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He's like, well, it's none of your business, but nothing.
Yeah. So I don't really remember exactly how they got to it, but they decided that Helen and Barry are going to go to the 4th of July parade because Helen is supposed to be on it because she's last year's pageant winner. So she has to wear the crown, wear the pretty dress, do the waving, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And Ray doesn't do anything, I guess. I don't know what he does.
Doesn't really do much ever.
Yeah. But Julie is the one that gets awarded with the task of going to take this yearbook to Missy, David's sister. But we don't get to see that yet. What we do see is Helen and Barry in the parade. And Helen's like having an okay time. You know, she's not super excited to be there. She's scared. But Barry is scanning the crowd, looking for this fisherman. And he sees somebody over there wearing a fisherman suit. No, that's a normal guy. And then he sees somebody over here wearing a fisherman coat. No, that's a normal guy. But he's on high alert.
Just keeps attacking people, I hear.
Yeah, he did. He attacked an old man, and that was really sad. Eventually, Helen sees our killer standing up like on a, what's it called? Like a patio, 2-story patio type thing. Balcony.
Balcony, yeah.
And she's like, Barry, there he is. And they finished the parade? I don't know. I don't remember them going after him at that point.
Yeah, I don't recall.
Yeah. But then, you know, we switch scenes and we go see Julie going to Missy's house. And this is where Julie finds out that Missy believes that David went out to that cliff that night to kill himself.
Oh, yeah, she tells her there.
Yeah.
And then shows the suicide note.
Yeah, she said, I found a suicide note, but I had to hide it from the cops because then I wouldn't have gotten the insurance payout and I needed that. And the note said, I'll never forget last summer, but in the killer's handwriting.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So Julie, it clicks for her. She's like, this isn't a suicide note. This is a threat from the killer. And she realizes David isn't the person we hit. Yes, David is the man that washed up on the shore. We hit somebody else, the killer.
Ooh.
And David was killed by the killer.
What a fucking asshole.
Yeah. So we switch back over to Helen and Barry. And they're at the pageant, just like the beginning of the movie. Helen's on stage, you know, Barry's up in the little grandstand
Catwalk.
nosebleed things up there. And he's watching and he's keeping an eye out everywhere for this fisherman with the hook, okay? His eyes are glued to the stage, protecting his lady.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Helen looks up and she like goes to smile at him and then she sees the fisherman is behind Barry.
Dun, dun.
Yeah. And he starts stabbing Barry with his hook hand. Well, his hook in his hand. He has both hands.
Just keeps fucking them up, huh?
Yeah. And Helen's screaming like, no, stop. He's going to kill him. He's going to kill him. And she's like trying to run off the stage. And for some reason, everybody grabs Helen and they're like, calm down, little lady. You're just a girl. You don't know what you're talking about.
Stop. You don't know stabbing. That's just
Yeah.
a little splicing.
It's fine. But where it gets weird is eventually a cop is like, okay, you crazy lady. Like, show me where this stabbing happened. And they go upstairs. Nothing.
Not a trace of no stabbings, no nothings.
No drop of blood. No dead body. No hook. Except after the cop walks away, the camera zooms in just for the audience to notice there is blood dripping off the handrail.
Just a little speckle of blood on the handrail.
Just a little. Just enough for us to know it's real.
I don't think it was real blood. But...
No, it was a real... She didn't imagine the murder.
Oh, okay.
But so this cop is like, okay, we need to get you home. Your parents are worried about you. You're acting a little cuckoo coconuts banana. You're going home. Get in the back of the cop car. So Helen does, and they're driving. And because roads were blocked off in certain parts because of the parade, the cop is like, well, shoot, I have to take a back alley. So he turns down a back alley, and there's a truck, like, stalled in the middle of the alley.
A guy working on it.
Yeah, a guy's working on it, but he's clearly in the fisherman's suit, the same suit as the killer.
Very clearly.
Yeah.
I don't know how they didn't notice it.
And nobody says a gosh dang word except for the cop when he says, well, give me a minute. You sit tight. I have to go help this guy so we can get through. And so he gets out of the car, and as he's walking up to what is clearly the killer, Helen is like, no,
No,
stop.
be fair. The cop is standing side by side with the killer and
Yeah.
asks him, like, what seems to be the problem here? And she's like, no, that's
Yeah.
the killer, and distracts the fucking cop.
Distracts the fuck out of him. He turns around, and, like, obviously he's scared because it's
He's
screaming.
like, what?
He's
What
yeah.
are you saying? I can't hear you. And she's like, come back here. He's the killer. Don't let him hear me.
And so the killer was like, well, shoot, I guess I gotta hook this man now. And so he kills the cop.
And the cop was like, why did you do that?
Yeah. Why did you? Yeah.
He wouldn't have done that if you wouldn't have distracted me. I would have been fine. And she's like, it's okay. And she kicked out the cop car window and ran.
Yeah.
Glad you're safe.
But so Helen got away, and she runs to her sister's house, or not her sister's house, her sister's business. Sorry, but before the killer starts chasing her, he's hygienic, he cares, so he wipes off his bloody hook.
Yeah, he does. After every victim, he wipes it. He doesn't want other people's blood all over your shit. Like
No cross contamination here.
I mean, there is, because he doesn't use like no proper sanitation or anything.
Mild cross contamination here.
Yeah, it's not that bad though.
But I just thought that was so fucking funny because, he took the time to clean off his little hook and then he started chasing her. But Helen runs to her sister's business and she's like, I don't remember her sister's name, but she's like banging on the door and she's like, let me in, let me in, let me in. And the sister is like taking her sweet ass time and finally opens the door, lets her in. Helen closes the door and is like looking around. She doesn't see the fisherman. And she's like, okay, sister, you go lock the other door. I don't know what Helen hid or something. Called the cops?
I don't know what she was doing, honestly. I forget. Like I
Yeah.
said, there's parts of this that I don't, I don't have 1,000%.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not great at retaining information when it comes to movies, so like I said, we'll see how this thing goes. But Helen's doing something. And the sister's trying to lock the door, and as she's locking the second door, we see a little scuffle behind her. A little man skedaddle. And then the hook man jumps out and attacks her.
Ah! He sure did.
Yeah. And he killed her. It was very sad.
That poor sister was just trying to help, and right before that, her sister told her, shut the fuck up and get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah.
Something like
pretty
that. She
much.
was hella mean.
She was hella mean.
So she didn't get to have no good time before she died at all.
Yeah. Oh, and then this, like, worst scene, in my opinion, it showed the fisherman carrying the sister's body still on the fucking hook.
Oh, yeah.
Like a
she was
fish.
still hooked up.
Yeah, that was
For
terrifying.
sure.
And I think he was hooked through her chin like Max.
No. It was through her torso.
Her torso?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, it was really gross, and he was just carrying her on a fucking meat hook. Oh, I didn't like that scene.
It was pretty cool.
And then the fisherman lays his eyes on Helen.
And he fell in love. No longer wanted to kill.
That would have been a weird ending, but that's not what happened.
Oh.
So Helen, she understands like things are too quiet. Where's my sister? So she goes to go look for her. And as she's walking through, it's like an apparel shop, I think. And there's like mannequins that are covered in like plastic wrap. And as she's walking through, surrounded by all these mannequins and like human body condoms, the lights shut off.
Dun dun.
And she's like, what the fuck? And just as things are starting to get like too scary to, you know what I mean? Like where it's like, okay, something's about to happen. The fisherman jumps out from one of the human condoms.
He did.
Yeah. and he attacks her, and she screams, and somehow she gets away, and there's, like a Scooby-Doo chase scene, and then all of a sudden she's outside.
Scooby Doo. Oh my.
Yeah, and she's from Scooby-Doo, so it works. But suddenly she's outside in an alley, okay? And obviously, he's supposed to be behind her, so she's in the clear. Things are fine. She's safe. She slows down for a minute. And in this alley, there's like tires surrounding the alley. Not Shane Gillis tires. Empty tires. No Shane Gillis to be seen.
And the tires, like, mind you, they're all fucking stacked up, and you can see that they are covering and hindering the ability to fucking see anybody beyond them
Yeah.
from the main road. Like, if you're standing by the tires, nobody's noticing you.
Yeah. But so she slows down, she stops running, and she's kind of just like taking her time going through these tires when all of a sudden she hears something behind her. So she turns around and there's nothing there. So she turns back to face the alley and the road that's in front of her. And there he is, the fish hook man.
And he's fucking exhausted because she's making all these poor choices that he just has to fucking... He's, oh, really, this?
Probably, yeah. But so he attacks her, and it's crazy. But he kills her. And then, like, 5 feet away from her, it shows Julie, and she's just standing in the parade. Because it's like, I don't know how to explain it without, like, showing it visually. But it's like the alley, and then at the end of the alley, perpendicular to the alley, is the parade route. So, like, Helen's being murdered as the parade is going by, like, 5 feet away. And the camera goes from Helen being murdered to Julie standing in the middle of the street, like, surrounded by the parade. So,
I saw it.
yeah, it was sad and weird. I don't really remember what happened. I think Julie went to Ray's boat, and she finds him, and she explains everything she's realized to Ray about Billy Blue and the brother and the killer and the everything, okay?
Yes.
And then Ray's like, oh, that's weird. And he's being real sus.
Very elusive.
And he's like, you know what? What if we deal with this later? And right now, you just come on my boat. And she's like, why would I come on your boat like we're being hunted? And he's like, shh, just get on the boat. And she's like,
I need you to be quiet and get on.
yeah. And she's like, okay. And she reaches out her hand to grab his hand to step up on the boat. And that's when she notices his boat's name says Billy Blue. And she's like, wait a minute. You're Billy Blue, aren't you? And he's like, hold on, I can explain. And she's like, no. And she starts running away. And he starts chasing her for some reason. And then an old man on the dock comes out and like hits him. I think hits him with something. I didn't really see.
Yeah, smacked him, I think, with an oar or something. He's like,
Yeah.
come with me if you want to, come to my boat.
Yeah. As Ray's like just conked out like a freaking Winchester brother on the ground.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Julie's like, yes, stranger man, I'll follow you to your boat instead. And she
Yeah.
does. And
She's
then
like, it's a good thing you came. Me and him, we were hiding from a killer, and he might possibly be him. I don't have I have no evidence. And the killer has been able to show up inexplicably at the right, perfect time out of nowhere. You got me on this boat at the perfect time. I can't thank you enough. Thank you, sir.
Exactly. And she gets on the boat and she goes down to the little like cabin section and she realizes there's pictures everywhere. One of the pictures, this cracks me up so bad because it was like a big blown up picture. Like you have to back then you had to get this printed somewhere, right?
Yeah.
A big picture of Helen on the parade boat that day in that dress she wore that day. It's not from last year's. She has her short hair because it was all chopped up, like coleslaw.
Yeah. It's literally, he went and took a photo.
Yeah.
Went and fucking took
Went
the
to
negatives.
Staples.
No, not even Staples. They
No.
didn't do it back in the day. No,
Oh.
you had to go to an actual photo place. Or he did it in his fucking basement, developed his own film. He was like, it's this important.
Yeah. So this man, he was a busy man, we dedicated. But she sees all these photos and all of the evidence that it's him. And she turns around and she's like, it's you. And he's like, yeah.
He's like, are you busy? Like, or did you want to talk about this? Like, you see stuff you like?
Yeah.
My work? Yeah.
And then he gets a little distracted in his villain origin story, and he's like pointing out pictures or looking at pictures or something completely away from the door. And Julie, instead of being like, let me run through that open door, was like, let me listen to the story. And then he lunges at her and she runs and she like, it gets scary. She goes down to this like the basement of the boat.
I guess you could call it that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called. I don't know boats.
Yeah, we're not boat people.
The subdeck.
The subdeck. But she goes down to like this really creepy part of the boat and then he follows her and she breaks into like the ice box part of the boat where it's just a bunch of ice and like fish. and she's crawling through there, and she accidentally like digs a little too much on one side, like too much ice moves, and it's a dead body.
It's one of her friend's bodies.
Yeah. So she's like, oh no. And she goes to the other side and it's another dead body.
Another one of her friends' dead
Yeah.
bodies.
And that keeps happening. And then eventually,
She looks up and can see, you know, the little drop chute where people drop the fish into the ice. She can
yeah.
see that. So she's like, fuck yeah, I'm going to get out. And she goes to grab the grate to push it open. And the killer's on top of it. So she's like, oh no. So she holds it to pull it down so he can't lift it. Which I don't get why the motherfucker didn't lift it with his goddamn fish hook.
Right.
Because he done picked up people by their faces and their torsos, carried them around like it was no problem just a few
Yeah.
minutes earlier. Maybe he overexhausted himself and
maybe
couldn't do
he's
it
a busy
anymore.
man. Yeah.
Because he
Printing
just
paper and-
couldn't even jiggle that fucking crate with her holding it. It was
Yeah.
wild.
It stopped him in his tracks. Yeah. They scuttled around, chased each other, whatever. Somehow they end up back on top of the boat, like on deck. And Ray comes up and Ray's trying to fight the fisherman. And she's like, watch out, Ray. And Ray like looks at her
As
like,
Ray's
huh?
in the middle of beating the dude,
Yeah.
like about to beat the dude's ass, he's got him, and then she's like, "Hold on, you're winning. He's got to get a punch in," and he's like, "What?" And she's like, "Wait, look at me," and he's like,
Yeah.
"For what?" And she's like, "Just long enough."
Yeah. And so the guy gets in a good hit. I think he goes overboard. Ray does. And Ben, that's his name, by the way, the killer. His name's Ben. What's his last name?
Dover.
I don't think it's Dover.
Oh,
Willis. His name's Ben Willis.
oh, bend over, Willis.
But Ben, he knocks Ray into the water. And then he goes after Julie again, right? And then
Yeah.
somehow Ray gets back on the boat again and throws a big fish hook at him, I think.
Yeah, one of the hooks from the fucking sails.
Yeah, one of the big metal hooks for the sail. One of those like beefy things, you know, that weighs like 10 pounds. And it's swinging from the mast straight at Ben Dover Willis, and hits him square in the face. And it knocks him over. And then what the fuck happened? This part doesn't make sense to me. So he like, I think flails and catches himself on something with his hook. And then Julie like unties something and it like sets something loose.
Yeah, it caught his foot, and that fucking little the sail hook fucking wrapped around his leg and picked him up and fucking treated it like, what was that goddamn game as kids?
Hangman?
No, fucking mousetrap.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was like that mousetrap where
Yeah.
it just fucking shot him up in the air.
Yeah.
And fucking pulled him up like a bear trap.
But
in the
his
fucking
hand was
tree.
stuck on something.
Yeah, and his hand got stuck in the netting, and then it cut his fucking hand off.
Yeah, like
while he was holding the
ripped it
hook
off.
too. Yeah, that was a pretty cool scene. Anyways, well, just that one part of it. Then the next shit don't make no sense, because right after all that humba jumba shit that happened, the fucking rope just twists and flings the motherfucker way out
Oh,
to sea.
yeah.
Like that was the end of the guy. Like they didn't have to deal with him anymore.
It yeeted
like,
him.
Yeah, the wind caught the sail and it yeeted him halfway across the fucking Pacific. It was wild.
And he was like,
or the Atlantic.
"Goodbye."
Yeah, he was like, "I'll be back when I figure out how."
Yeah, it was real weird. I think they thought he landed or something because when it shot forward a few more minutes, the cops were there and they're like, yeah, his body's over here. And they took the cops over there and it was nothing, just the hand. Or they fished him out or something.
Yeah, they were pulling up the fish net because they
That
said
was
he
it.
probably fell down there.
Yeah.
And all that came up with the fish netting was the hook in his hand, and they were
Yeah.
like, his body will probably surface in a few days.
Yeah.
Happens most of the time.
Yeah. But so basically, the only survivors, Julie and Ray, realized they didn't actually kill anybody. So what happened, because
See, what happened was,
it's hard to follow a little bit. So there was a man named David. David had a fiance. We don't know her name. Oh, no, it's Susie, I think. Susie got killed by a drunk tourist driver. David was really sad. For some
Really
reason,
sad.
Susie's father blamed David. I think because Susie was out with David, maybe? I don't know. But Susie's father blamed David. So Susie's father, Ben Willis, killed David 4th of July, 1997. Shoved him over the cliffs. And then as he was walking home after doing a little murder, he got hit by the 4 kids in their car.
yeah. So to be fair, they like tried to go eye for an eye. Like that guy just killed a kid. Like we'll kill him on accident.
On accident.
But in reality, they didn't. They technically it was like attempted manslaughter.
Yeah. But
And
not on
then-
purpose.
And then all of a sudden, the kids were all mad at him because they tried to kill him.
Well,
like,
hold on. We'll get to that in a
go
second.
ahead.
So they thought they killed this Ben Willis after he did a little murder, and they threw him in the water. But he didn't die. He climbed out of the water and was like, I'm going to get my revenge on those kids for trying to kill me. And then that's how it all happened. And now you can go on your little thing.
Okay, so just hear me out real quick. So, granted, he may have killed that other kid, but for these fucking kids that were being chased down by this guy, to their knowledge, they fucking threw a guy that they may or may not have killed away.
Yeah.
Like when they hit him with the fucking car, that one girl was very, very worried about it, and then was still very easily convinced to just, fucking toss him overboard. They transported him. He showed multiple signs of not wanting to be fucking dead, and they're like, just fucking die already. We're tired of dealing with you. And then they fucking forced him to almost die. He still didn't die. So, in all actuality, this guy was really just trying to get retrogression. Like, hey, you remember how you guys tried to kill me? Like,
Yeah.
So, it wasn't really that bad. I mean, I don't...
He was bad because he killed people.
Right, I don't say that he should have killed all them people.
But up until the murders.
Yeah, if he just fucking went and gave them, like, beat the dog shit out of them, dog walked them, like, just...
Wrote some strongly worded letters instead of just, I know what you did.
Like, I'm just saying, like, beat the dog shit out of them in their bedroom, use their
In their
mom's...
bedroom?
Listen, hear me out.
Okay.
Wrote their mom's, or used their mom's lipstick in their mirror and said, I know what you did last summer. It was me that got my revenge, whatever. You write
Yeah.
a fucking long note, dude. A strongly worded note.
A tweet.
There wasn't tweets back there. But, like, longly worded note in the mom's fucking makeup and then sign it as the kid. So that, and, duct tape that kid to the fucking closet door. So when the mom gets home, she's like, what the fuck are you doing, you fucking creepy kid?
Yeah.
You into some weird shit and you signed that? Like, that's what you wrote all over my mirror?
That's
And
fair.
what are you doing? Like, dude, be creative. Don't kill kids, fucking weirdo.
I know, yeah. He took it way too far.
But definitely, no, they tried to kill him and, like, they didn't succeed. So they just kept fucking trying. They tried, like, 3
Yeah.
times.
That's the wild part.
Just take him to the fucking hospital.
Yeah, drop him off.
I know cell phones weren't a thing back then, but you drop them off by a payphone and you dial 911 and you say, hey, man, I just found this guy. He got hit by a car. He's by this payphone. I can't get him to a hospital. Bye.
Yeah,
Something. No, they just fucking rolled him in the... They transported him anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
These kids were assholes.
They're like, we got to make sure he dies at some point. It went from accidental murder to, like, attempted.
To really trying.
Yeah,
It went from
really
attempted
attempted.
manslaughter to attempted murder.
Yeah. But anyway, so the movie's still not done yet.
Oh, shit.
We fast forward a little bit again. I don't really know how much time. It didn't specify, but Julie's back at college. She's on the phone with Ray. They're having a flirty little conversation. And she's like, okay, well, I gotta go. I have to get in the shower. So she hangs up. She's getting in the shower, and her roommate knocks on the door, and she's like, hey, you got some mail. Because apparently you bring people mail, like, in the shower. It was like a communal shower.
Only
it
in
was very weird.
college.
Yeah. But anyway, so Julie goes out, and she sees the letter, and it looks just like the letter from the killer. And she's
It
like,
did.
holy cow. And she's scared, and she walks up, and she opens it, and it's an invite to a party. So she laughs, she giggles. She's like, oh, I'm so dumb, whatever. And she goes back into the shower, and all of a sudden the room is filled with, what's it called? Not smoke, fog, mist
Yeah.
from the showers. It was like all of the showers turned on.
All the steam.
Yeah, steam, that's the word. And she obviously was a little scared, like, what the hecky? And so she's walking up to her shower, and all of the steam clears so that she can see her shower door perfectly. And on it is handwritten. It says, I still know.
He still knew.
Yeah. And just as, like, the music hits that part that's really creepy,
The crescendo.
the crescendo, he jumps out of the shower door and attacks her. And that's where the movie ends.
Ah!
Yeah. A great jump scare. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I would give it like a 6.
No, I loved it. Because
It was like a 10 for you, yeah.
yeah,
something
it was a
jump.
10 for me. I jumped like 3 feet off the couch. It was very good. And it was, yeah, it was great. I was like mid-sentence too. I was in the middle of saying that it looks like they wrote I still know in like that fake snow that you use on Christmas windows. And middle sentence, he jumped out and I jumped off the couch. It got me.
She did.
Yeah.
She was terrified.
Yeah.
So overall, we scored these movies on a scale of how many lights we're going to leave on. Like how, like a scale of 1 through 10.
Oh, yeah.
How many
Hold on.
lights we're going to leave on.
Our anxious meter?
Yeah. She's a better rules explainer than me. Rules analysis. I comprehend them. I can't tell you how they work, though.
Yeah, so what we're going to do, we're going to call it our anxious meter, and it rates how scary the movie is, okay?
It's on a scale from we're probably fine to turn the fucking lights on.
Mm-hmm. And so we're going to rate it from 1 to 10 lights. Like, how many lights do you need to leave on to go to sleep that night, okay? 1 being we're probably fine, and 10 being turn the fucking lights on.
All right. I think I can do this.
Okay, so what do you rate it?
We're probably fine.
Yeah, one light.
I'd probably leave like maybe. So we got a 2-story house that we live at. So I'm gonna say like I'd leave the downstairs light on, but it'd be like one of those night lights that you have in the kitchen,
Oh,
like one of those.
the little ones.
Yeah, and then one in the hallway by the stairs, just because I don't like stubbing my toes.
Yeah, or tripping on the cats.
Yeah, in case somebody jumps out from right there. Um, and then probably one right by the fridge, anyways, just because I am fat and I like midnight snacks and things to drink in the middle of the night. So I
The
don't want.
fridge light.
Yeah, well, no, I mean one on the exterior too,
Oh,
because I don't
okay.
want no one or nothing to jump out and get at me.
That's fair.
Definitely the one on the inside of the fridge. So
Yeah.
if we're counting that, then I don't need the one on the exterior.
Okay. No, we won't count the fridge one because that one
Okay.
doesn't stay on.
Yeah, because I gotta see what's in the fridge. Otherwise, I'll just use the one from the exterior. I'll move
Yeah,
it to
there
the
you go.
interior too. So I'm gonna go with 3 downstairs lights. My bedroom's upstairs, so I think I'll be all right.
Weirdly enough, that's the exact rating I gave it. I didn't specify downstairs. But yeah, I said 3 lights. I wanted to say 2 because it's not a very like terrifying movie. It's kind of one of those like feel good scary movies
Very Amish.
where like you can watch it over and over and kind of not get too scared.
Oh, I could not. I would get so annoyed.
But I gave it the extra light because I can't lie, I was decently jumpy last night. When we were laying in bed, Kevin scared the crap out of me because you know how there's like lights on the Roku and stuff?
Yeah.
Well, I was laying down trying to read on my phone and I kept seeing that light like flicker. It would like turn on and off and on and off, but at weird increments. And I was like, at first I was like, oh, that's weird, like whatever. And then it kept going and I was like, okay, something is fucking walking in front of that light. Like something is moving in front of that light. So I flick on my flashlight really fast and it's Kevin. He was licking himself, like licking his belly.
Hell yeah.
So his head was bobbing. Yeah.
So then you better be so thankful that you were not awake when he was in the window.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because he didn't get like he got in between the curtains and the blinds.
Oh.
So when he announced himself as being in the window, he just poked his head out in between the 2 curtains.
Oh
Like
no.
right in the middle, and I was like, Kevin, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Get out of the window.
Oh, good gravy. Yeah, I
that
would have
would've-
peed.
Yeah, you would have shit.
Yeah. Shit the bed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
pooped the bed?
Who
I pooped the bed.
Yeah, definitely. It wouldn't have been Frank. It would have been Monica
It would have been me.
for sure.
But yeah, so I have some fun stuff for us to discuss.
Oh shit.
Do you want to start with the fun facts?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
What's fun about this?
There's actually quite a bit for this movie. I wasn't prepared. First of all, this movie was loosely based on a book with the same name.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't know that. It was written by Lois Duncan.
On a side note, I would argue that every movie that's ever been based off of a book, any movie that's ever been made off of a book is loosely based off of the book.
That's fair, yeah.
Most of the time it's very loosely.
But this is really loosely then,
Yeah,
yeah.
every single time.
Yeah. But Lois Duncan was best known for writing thriller young adult novels such as Killing Mr. Griffin and Down a Dark Hall. Those are 2 like very popular ones.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in 1989, her daughter was killed, like murdered.
Shit.
Yeah. And her case remained unsolved for decades, which caused Lois understandably to not only distance herself from her horror genres and thriller genres, but also she kind of grew a distaste for it.
Yeah.
So when she found out that her book inspired a slasher movie just a few years later,
She probably wasn't too happy.
yeah, she was pissed. She was, I think the word that I kept seeing was appalled. That was what she would say in interviews. She was appalled by it. Part of the reason she was so upset is because nobody in her book actually died. It was a young adult thriller, like suspense, like it was kids being tormented.
Yeah, like Goosebumps.
Yes, but nobody died. So I think when she found out that it was a story where people were being murdered, I think that's what upset her, was the murder part, not so much that it was based off her story or anything like that.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But yeah, because in the book it was drunk driving. 4 kids were drunk driving and hit a little boy on a bike.
See, they didn't even do that. The people in the movie were nicer. They didn't make a kid get hit.
Right?
No?
Yeah. I
That's
thought
pretty
that
neat.
was really cool that they changed that because, I mean, yes, you could look at it from the angle if they had Barry drive when he was drunk. Like, oh, don't drive drunk. This bad stuff could happen. But I do still think it kind of like, I don't know the right word, but I'm glad they didn't put that in the movie. But I think it's good to just don't normalize it at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
get that.
I appreciate that they didn't put that in there. I did want to note Lois Duncan's daughter's killer was eventually caught.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But it was 5 years after Lois passed away.
Still.
Yeah. For the next fun fact, the screenwriter based the killer's outfit off of his dad, who was a fisherman.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't think we fully explained it. The killer's outfit was like a fisherman's coat. I don't remember the word. With the little fisherman's hat that like covered his face. But yeah, he based that off his dad.
At least he gave his dad type of shout out. He's like, you know what, Dad? You're my muse.
Yeah. There was a contest held where a kid could win the chance to write a scene for the movie and then actually go on set and direct that scene. And that scene that the kid won and then wrote became the most iconic scene of the movie. The scene where Julie was screaming, "What are you waiting for?"
Hell yeah. The
Yeah.
kid was tired of waiting. It's
Something.
like, just fucking kill her, dude.
Yeah.
What are you waiting for? Just kill her.
Something.
I dig
But
it.
isn't that wild? Like a child wrote that. And
That's
it
good
was
shit.
the most, yeah. But also I think we should go back to doing that. Giving chances for people to win that and go right.
Possibly
scenes?
get their foot in Hollywood.
Yeah.
To try and
I think
get a
that would
new
be
career.
so cool.
Live their future. Live their dreams.
Yeah. Even if it's just for that one scene, that's
Yeah,
dope.
reach a goal, a life goal. That'd be
Yeah.
cool. Fuck Hollywood. Hear us out. Do it.
Do it.
I'll be the pilot. I'll write some dope shit for you.
Yeah. But also Jennifer Love Hewitt was not a fan of that scene. When she first read it, she said she thought it sounded really silly, but she gave it her all and it paid out for her, so.
Yeah. Well, it sounded silly because it came from a kid. But,
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, that's the only reason she knew it came from a kid. Otherwise, I think she would have been fine with it.
That's fair. In the scene where Julie is trapped in the boat at like towards the end, surrounded by ice, and she keeps finding her friends' bodies,
Yeah.
that ice was made of gelatin.
So it didn't melt.
No, yeah. I just thought that was weird but cool. Max was not originally supposed to die.
Yeah, see, that felt out of place.
Yeah.
Like they just killed him for no reason.
Right? Yeah, because
Like,
he
fuck
wasn't
this
part
guy.
of the four. And he acted like he didn't see anything.
Yeah, he had
it seemed
nothing
like he
to do
didn't.
with that killing.
Yeah.
Or
But
the attempted manslaughter and the attempted murders. He
Yeah.
wasn't there for none of that shit. He just fucking rolled up and he's like, what are you guys doing? Oh, he's throwing up? Cool. Holler at me later.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, after they showed the movie to test audiences, they decided that a death scene was needed earlier in the movie to really drive home the idea that the
There's an
main
actual
four,
threat.
yeah, the main four were in danger. Jennifer Love Hewitt was really good friends with the guy that played Max in real life. His name was Johnny Galecki. And because of that, when she filmed the scene where his body was in the trunk, she was so upset by seeing him like that, she broke down crying and they had to like pause filming, and Johnny Galecki had to call the set and say like, "Hey, no, I'm okay. Like that's a dummy, like a doll. I'm good."
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What a sensitive Sally.
Yeah. This is my favorite one. Melissa Joan Hart was offered a role, but she turned it down because she felt like the movie was a ripoff of Scream, which is fun because the screenwriter, Kevin Williamson, was also the writer for Scream, but he actually wrote this screenplay before he wrote Scream. He just was able to sell Scream first.
Yeah, see, and that makes sense.
Mhm.
They are rip-offs of each other, but that's all right.
Yeah, because it came from the same brain. But I thought that was so fucking
Like,
funny.
well, even if it's not the same brain, I told you, nothing's original anymore.
Well, that's fair, yeah.
That is fun, though.
Yeah. Ryan
Fitzpatrick.
Philippe, I think it's Philippe, shared that on July 4th, 2017, Muse Watson, who played the killer, Ben Willis, messaged him on, I think it was Twitter, and said, "Hello, old friend," as a joke.
See, I would have messaged him and been like, I don't know if I know, but I think I know what you did last summer. Would have said some
Pretty
weird
sure.
shit.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, I thought so too. Another wild fact is you might have noticed it's not a particularly gory movie,
It's not.
and that's due to Jim Gillespie, the director. He didn't want there to be a lot of blood. Even Helen's sister's death at her store was supposed to be bloodless and shot from behind, so you didn't like see anything, but it was deemed that it looked too physically impossible, so they added that little squirt of blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which that was really weird for a slasher film, but I do kind of wonder if that had something to do with the author of the book.
Maybe, but did she know that they were making a film off of her book at that point?
That's fair, I don't know. And then my last one is there was supposed to be a different ending.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Were they all supposed to die?
No, it's kind of the same but different. Originally, Julie was supposed to get an email that said, I still know. But the test audiences said that that was way too anticlimactic. So that's why they added the shower and the jump and the.
Yeah, because they didn't know emails very well back in '97. They were
That's
still
fair.
really new.
Yeah. No, that's weird. Why?
Like I said, that picture, I mean, I didn't say this on the podcast, but like when we were talking about it,
Yeah.
that Polaroid picture, I mean, that'd be cool nowadays too, but you do the same thing. It's just a text message,
Yeah, that's
picture
fair.
message. You just send it instantly, and somebody's like, what? You're right behind me.
Yeah.
Send a Snapchat.
As long as you have good service.
Yeah, for the most part.
So, for the ratings roundup, weirdly enough, it does not have good ratings.
No way. It's a classic, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
But
I
mean,
love this movie.
It was pretty mid.
No. On IMDb, it has a 5.8 out of 10.
Yeah.
And on Rotten Tomatoes, it's a 49%.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? I thought that was crazy.
I mean, it's mid-level, but I mean, it's a classic.
Yeah.
That's what gives it such a high score on a lot of different people's like individual bias is
That's
because
fair.
it's a classic.
It's
But as
classic.
far as for the script, a lot of the movie it's pretty corny.
Yeah, but
There's
I
no
think that's
gore.
the charm to it.
There's no gore,
Yeah,
and that's a big thing to slashers.
I
Um,
guess.
It's not very vulgar. There's especially if you rate it modernly versus
There's no
modern.
sex. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there is kind of, but yeah, it's not what people would rate as a top tier because it doesn't have those elements.
Maybe that's why I like it so much, I think. It's because it's
Yeah,
so.
because you're like an innocent
Yeah.
gore, like, ooh, I love it when
Clean
it's
gore.
scary. Oh no, there's, is that a butt cheek? Tell me when it's gone.
I'm a prude.
A little bit.
Okay, do you.
Like, but slice their fucking throat. I want to see the trachea.
I don't want to see the trachea. Okay, no, I have this, I don't know, like mantra that if you're going to kill the killer or a bad guy or anything, you have to keep mashing his brain until it's pulp.
Yeah.
And you judge me for that.
I don't judge you. I'm just saying because you're like, oh, it's got to be innocent scary. And you're like, no, I want to see them when they fucking destroy that man. I
Because
want
that's
to
the only
see
way to
them.
make sure you're safe.
Oh, you think he's dead? I know you're the killer, but what if that guy survives? You need to go back and make sure. No, show me where his throat's hanging out. There you go. Okay, now on to the next one. I watch TV with you. I know, girl.
I'm a conundrum.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Do you
Clusterfuck.
remember your first time watching this movie?
No, I was like 8 years old.
Oh. I don't really remember mine either. But yeah, I know I was pretty young when I first watched it too. Did it traumatize you?
No, I forgot about it. It was like a whole new experience watching it again.
It was.
I remember little pieces because I'm like, oh yeah, but a lot of it I was like, hey, that's the killer. Hey, that. Oh no, I forgot.
Yeah, we
Uh,
did think Ray was the killer almost
I remember
the entire
more
time.
of the spoof movies making
Yeah.
fun of it than I do the actual movie. You know?
Yeah.
That's what's shitty.
As for me, I don't remember it traumatizing me. I know for sure the Hook Man lore did. The story of the asylum patient that snuck out and he had a hook for a hand and he killed the couple. That messed me up. But I don't remember if that started from this movie or started from like books and the story being told at campfires and stuff.
It's fair.
Yeah. Okay, what are your thoughts on Ben Willis's The Hook Man's costume as a horror villain?
Mid.
Mid?
Yeah, I mean it's all right, but like cheap costume to duplicate for Halloween.
That's
So
fair.
that's good. You see somebody wearing like fisherman outfit, it's if you see a lineup of scary figures, you're like, that guy's trying not to get rained on. Right? And he's got a hook, so maybe he's baling hay in the rain or he works on a boat.
See, but that's why I love it. I love when they take these like innocuous things and make it something
Yeah,
scary.
he's unsuspecting,
Yeah.
absolutely. But that's what I'm saying. Like that's not the epitome of a horror figure though.
I don't know. I kind of love it. Like it adds something scary because it's like you could be out in a normal day and see somebody dressed like that and have that like, you know, just for a second. And that adds a layer of like fear.
Right, that's
for
fair.
me.
That's so like the way I philosophize it is if you were to become a horror villain serial killer for a movie, would that be your outfit? Would that be one of your go-tos or would you be like, "No, fuck that.
I don't know.
I only got the budget for it. Maybe I'll go with that." But then you think of
That's
other ones
fair.
and you're like, "Yeah, that one's more intimidating. That one's more daunting." Like there's other ones where you're like, "That would be an outfit." that is, yeah. I mean, if that's what you got the budget for, if that's what you killed the first time in, and people already started depicting you as that, you're like, fuck, I'm stuck with it, and you upgrade to a nicer raincoat or something, a cooler hat. I don't know.
So
That's
then,
not my go-to.
what would you consider like the best?
It's not what we're doing right now. We're talking about this movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do also want to note that I love that they used the hat to hide the killer's face because for me, when you can't see their face, it adds like
That
depth
allure.
and
You're like,
yeah,
hey,
extra layer
who
of
is
like
this? I need to know. I gotta get
fear.
closer to the killer.
Yeah,
I'm scared, but I still gotta get close enough to know. Yeah.
exactly, because you have no idea what's under there.
Mm,
So I love that they included that.
I know you did.
What do you think was the best kill of the movie?
Well, technically, there was only like 3 that you saw.
Yeah, there really wasn't a whole lot.
Yeah. Mine would probably be the sister because he just carried her around on that meat hook.
Yeah,
He just kept walking with her, like suspended off the ground, like, God damn it, got something stuck on my hook, but I gotta go. He just
Yeah.
kept walking like it was just a piece of lint on his hook.
yeah.
That was my most favorite.
And see, I
He was
almost
just like,
chose...
fuck it, I gotta get rid of this girl. She's in the way. Like there was no reason for it. He was just like,
No,
gotta get this.
I almost chose that one for that reason, but I think the craziest kill for me was Helen's death, solely for like based off the fact that she was so close to safety. Like I said, she was like 5 feet from the parade, and it was just this weird contrast of like people are partying and joyous and having fun. Meanwhile, she's
Dying in an alleyway.
being
That's
stabbed.
so realistic too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know, and it was scary.
Her sisters, though, for me, was just because she didn't even know what was going on the whole fucking time. Anyways,
Yeah, not a single
she
clue.
opened the shop a little slow, granted,
Yeah.
yeah, because she didn't know what the fuck's going on. Her sister's just screaming. She's dramatic, anyways.
That's true.
So she's like, "Fine, oh my god." And then her sister didn't even tell her what to do, what's going on. She's like, "There's a killer," and she's like, "What? What does he look like?" Nothing.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Not a fucking warning, anything.
Yeah.
So the girl's just thinking she's helping people, and she's like, "Oh, this guy's wet. There's a storm out there, and he's a fucking rain suit, like you said, unsuspecting."
Mhm.
She just got fucking murdered, and then he carries her around like, "This one's mine.
Yeah.
I did this. This is mine from earlier." Like,
Crazy,
yeah,
yeah.
that one. But I get yours, absolutely.
Okay, this is fun. If you had to star in this movie, like you got stuck in it somehow, and you were allowed to take 3 things with you to survive, what would you bring?
I'm taking that guy's hook. That's first thing because I don't think he's gonna find another one. Kept
That's
using
fair.
the same one. You could tell. You brought it up earlier. He kept cleaning it,
Yeah.
so it's not like there's just more that he can grab. You'd suspect that, or you would think that there would be because all the fucking fishing and stuff. But he
Yeah.
had to keep cleaning that one, so that's significant. The cop had a gun. Definitely taking that.
You can bring things from not in the movie too.
Oh, like total?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I'm just to deal with that guy, pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm taking this hook away from him. Still, I'm keeping that going.
Good idea.
See, I'm not a murderer,
Yeah.
right? So I'm not gonna kill the guy. I'm also not a cop, so I'm not gonna arrest him. I'm probably just gonna get a lot of money and fucking move out of town and go somewhere else. Yeah.
Just move away.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Have a fortress and be like, if you guys want to fucking move with me, we're going. Like, that guy, not our problem. If he's killing people in that town, we already told the cop. He wanted to fucking hug me with all those people when I was saying my friend was getting murdered up on the fucking catwalk, up on the balcony. I was trying to point it out, and this whole town wanted to fucking coddle me,
That's fair.
to tap me on the head and say, what's going on, when I'm telling them. And then the cop didn't want to believe me. All right, I told you there was a serial killer. I went to the police department, told all them. I got my bands together, and I fucking moved out. I got a nice house. Like, yeah, no, I'm getting money, and I'm getting the fuck out. But I'm taking that guy's hook. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's not a bad plan, actually.
Yeah.
Now my answers seem silly.
Huh.
Well, first I chose a harpoon.
All right. In case he's a whale.
Yeah. 'Cause,
Alright.
if it comes down to it,
At
that's a good way to
distance,
defend. Yeah. Or defend. Second, I chose a fishing pole.
Okay.
Because I feel like with some practice, you could, like, throw out your line and catch his hook and reel it in.
Okay.
Yeah. And then third, along the same lines, I chose a really big metal detector.
Just in case he had like a metal leg.
Well, no, because he has the metal hook. So I thought I
But
could
you
just,
just
like,
got it.
turn it on. If I'm no fishing wizard, so maybe the fishing pole doesn't work
Yeah.
out. If it doesn't, I can just turn on my little metal detector and it goes and I got it. And then I'm clear,
So with your stuff that you chose, the only way that any of it comes in handy at all, the guy's already in the water and drowning.
Drowning.
If he is swimming, you're fucked.
Or
You're like, here, I'm gonna fish for your hook, and no.
or say like I'm walking down the parade, and I just have my
Yeah.
little metal detector and I'm just pointing it at people, grabbing keys, and all of a sudden there's a hook. I know I'm clear. I'm good. I'm alive.
Man, I'm
What?
so glad you have me. You're going to this fortress that I got. You're not gonna be metal detecting killers' hooks out of their pockets and shit. What? Trying to fucking fish across the fucking parade. Like, I'm trying to see if anybody's got a hook, and they're like, you hooked me. Got him. Get him over there.
I'm reeling
Harpoon
in-
the fucker.
I'm reeling in someone by their cheek.
Yeah, and then you're gonna harpoon the fucker because he had a hook in his cheek. Like, no.
Oh.
You're going to jail with this. What was the guy's name? Ben.
Ben Willis.
Yeah, you're killing people for Ben now.
Oh no.
Trying to find him. Yeah, you're going to the fortress with me. Don't worry, I got a hook over there.
Okay.
See, and you're missing the fucking hook because I got it anyways.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Based off that, do you think we would survive the movie?
Oh, I definitely would.
Yeah.
Based off of what you just told me about acquiring that hook, if you stay with me, you stick by me, yeah, we will.
With my metal detector, yeah, I got your
I
back.
don't give a fuck if you bring it or not. Yeah. We're gonna be just fine if you stick around with me. Now, if you hang out with these other people or by yourself, I'm very worried. How do you think you're
So
gonna
don't split up. I thought I had great answers. I thought I'd be perfect. Scot free.
How do you think you're getting away with this guy with a hook if he's not in the water
If I get the hook,
and not on the other side of the parade? Like if he's coming at you, like because in this movie, he is the pursuer. He's pursuing you.
maybe I should have picked like a suit of armor.
Yeah, that would have done a lot
I
better.
could be your knight in shining armor.
Yeah, he comes after me. I kick you in the back, and you're like clink, 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 right into him, knock his ass out.
Like
That
Bender.
fucking suit's heavy, dude. Yeah, he's not getting up. And then I'm gonna fucking keep picking you up and dropping you until he's mush.
With my metal detector.
Yeah. All right.
You just drop.
Oh yeah. I did fishing pole over the rafter in the barn, like in that crab shack that we're in.
Uh-huh.
Fucking throw the rope over the fishing line over, and then reel it up.
See, not such
hook it,
dumb answers now, huh?
tie it around that metal detector so I can rig it up in the sky, and then fucking keep picking you up. There's a button on it that says demagnetize, drop you back down. Yeah, so I turn you into one of the fucking smushing machines at the scrapyard, a manual one. Even then, I don't think we're surviving. I don't know if the fishing line's gonna make that, and I don't know if I'm fucking strong enough to reel you up that many fucking times. It's a lot of work, dude.
I think we'd survive. I think we're good.
Together, yeah, by yourself, baby. I'm so worried. So scared.
Okay. What do you think was the worst character decision?
So I think there's quite a few of them.
Yeah.
So anytime in any movie or real life situation when somebody's facing danger, and I mean legitimately literally facing danger, about to encounter a situation, and there's somebody in the background that starts yelling their name and telling them to watch out, it's just a poor decision.
Yeah.
Why? Like, there's one phrase I used to say all the time when I walked around, especially in my youth, is watch out, an obvious distraction. And I'd point at something and people would fucking look.
Yeah.
Do they know what I said? No, they just heard distraction and they saw that I was pointing at something and they fucking look. You make a loud noise, startle somebody, they're gonna look.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Exactly.
The only person who's not gonna fucking look is the person who's trying to kill somebody. They're actively trying. They're not gonna look. That's just poor decision making every time. And
That's
when they
what
put
I
it in
chose
the
as mine.
script every time, I'm like, this fucking. You guys got.
Yeah. But it's realistic. That's why they keep using it. People are wild. But yeah, that's what I chose as mine too. There was 2 scenes that happened.
I've been through so many fucking different wild things, and never once has anybody been like, Cash, watch out, as I was in the middle of something.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it really happens.
Well, that's fair. I just meant it's realistic
might
in the
hang
fact
out with
that
smarter
somebody would
people.
look.
I said, I may just hang out with smarter people.
Maybe. I don't know.
All right, where are we going with this next?
That's all I've got. Okay. Thank you for joining us. Let us know if you like this type of episode.
Yeah, thank you again for joining us on this trial episode.
Yeah.
Hopefully trial and error. If we got any fixes to do, which I know there's some work we can do on
Oh, yeah.
the next time we do something like this. But if you guys enjoyed this, give us some feedback, positive, constructive, whatever.
Yeah.
Help tune us up. Otherwise, yeah, it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I watched almost part of a movie. I saw some scenes from it, that's for sure.
You sure did.
Monica got to watch a new movie she hadn't seen in 20 years.
Yeah, a long time.
And yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll do this somewhat regularly. So for real, if you have any constructive criticism, let us know.
Or any specific movie you guys want us to watch and see if we
Yeah.
understand what the fuck we're watching. If it's foreign, I got to tell you guys, like, I love foreign films, but if it's not in English and it takes subtitles, as I just told you, a movie that, you know, pretty easy to follow along with. I didn't watch the whole thing. I got ADHD. You want me to pay attention to subtitles? I got like 30 minutes at a time, so it might take us a while to get through it for me to actually remember what I watched.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But otherwise, I'm still open for it, yeah.
Yeah, let us know. Send us your recommendations. And you can find us on social media. We have a TikTok,
Threads,
Instagram,
Facebook,
YouTube,
Google.
Google
We got
us.
Gmail. Well, the more people Google us, the more we rise to the top results. So
I don't think we can tell people to Google us, can we?
I don't know.
So we're definitely not doing that.
No, we're not, but you can tell people to do whatever the hell,
Don't Google us.
I guess.
If you or somebody you know has had a brush with the paranormal and you would like to have that story read on the podcast, please email it to anxiousatbedtimepodcast@gmail.com.
The world can be a scary place with teenagers trying to kill people over and over and over. And when they don't die, they get mad and they're going to come back for you. So just remember, probably don't attempt to murder people.
Yeah.
Or attempted manslaughter and then attempted murder them and then attempted to get away. Just do the right thing. Goodbye.
But we're probably fine.
Oh, but we're probably fine.
Sleep tight.
Bye.